The Dome and Outer Space Projection, year 1728, the last reset. The sun sank slowly behind the calm sea, washing the shores of the ancestral lands. Its reddish colors lit the water as if a massive ember floated above the horizon. There he stood, feet submerged in the warm tide, watching in silence. Everything in these lands was different: time, wind, memory. Nothing resembled the known lands he had left behind. Those territories trapped beneath the immense dome vibrated with a sadness that did not exist here. Every sunset reminded him of those who had been trapped there, and those who had never escaped. In the company of 2L, an ancestral woman whose features still carried the genetics of the ancient Anakim, he began to delve into the true history of humanity. In these lands, far from custodial manipulation, it was impossible to look at the past without feeling its weight. It was as if every word spoken by 2L opened a corridor into eras so remote that the modern human mind could never grasp them on its own. The first thing he discovered was that the resets were neither myths nor exaggerations. They were real, devastating, precise cycles. Each one had erased entire civilizations, entire continents, colossal trees, giants, highly advanced cultures, and every trace of deep spiritual knowledge. Every reset had been executed by the same colonizers, custodians and Anunnaki, working together or as enemies, but always producing the same outcome for humanity: destruction and forgetting. As he walked through the cold corridors of the ancestral Great Library located in the Ark, he began to understand something he had never imagined. The domes were not simple structures. They were living membranes, giant barriers dividing environments, timelines, planes of existence, and entire worlds. Each circle environment was a different world, a cell inside a larger organism, and humans trapped under the first dome lived in only one of them. What terrified him was this: the colonizers had manipulated the dome's membrane to turn it into an instrument of control. It didn't merely separate lands, it altered human perception, education, history, maps, skies, science, and the very idea of what was possible. He realized that everything humanity inside believed about astronomy, the universe, the movement of the earth, the stars, planets floating in a vacuum, had been crafted to detach humanity from itself. 2L explained that the great scientific theories, the ones that changed modern history, had not emerged as pure discoveries, but as insertions designed to mold the human mind. They spoke of Copernicus, Galileo, Kepler, Newton, names that, at best, had been manipulated, rewritten, or reconstructed after the reset. Humanity had been educated to feel small, fragile, insignificant, lost in an immeasurable space that did not even exist as it was taught. The goal was simple: if the human being feels small, they will never seek to break their prison. But in the ancestral lands, none of that existed. Here, humanity had spent millennia building a civilization based on spiritual knowledge and connection with the higher worlds. The sacred trees, colossal living structures, linked the physical realm with the interior of the earth and the celestial lands. The Anakim, 4-meter giants, cultivated harmony with nature and taught pre-reset humans how to manipulate free energy, how to travel between portals, how to move matter with vibration, how to heal through sound. The tunnels stretching beneath the ground were entire cities, illuminated by Tartarian technology, glowing with energy crystals, complete ecosystems without a sun, structures that defied modern engineering. All of it was destroyed or buried by the custodians in the reset of 1728. When 2L showed him the records of the Great Fire of 1666, he understood that the modern world had no idea of the scale of the war that had taken place there. It had not been a simple urban fire. It had been a massive attack against Tartaria's energetic centers, carried out by the Greys of Orion, who had taken temporary control while custodians and Anunnaki were at war. London, Moscow, Beijing, Egypt, all had been struck. Then came the Great Flood, the destruction of the colossal trees, the fall of the giants, the annihilation of the underground centers, the erasure of history, the reset. The humanity born afterward in 1728 was designed in laboratories, artificially incubated babies scattered across cold regions with shorter lives, more vulnerable minds, weaker bodies, and completely empty memory. This was the seventh generation, modern humanity. As he studied the documents about the previous cycles, the numbers left him paralyzed. 8 humanities had existed, 8 cycles, 8 destructions, 8 rebirths, each with its own achievements, spirituality, wars, giants, and portals. The first humanity, the one from Hyperborea Asgard, had been created by 5 masters, whose origin remains inexplicable even today. Beings who intervened so that souls from the celestial lands could incarnate freely and defend the spiritual integrity of this world. That humanity lived in perpetual light, with a technological and spiritual development impossible to describe with modern language. Telepathy, free energy, societies without hierarchies, living architecture, a lost dream. And yet, what disturbed him most was not the greatness of those ancient worlds, but what he discovered about the present. The simulation of the universe, the projection of the sky, the imposed idea of stars, planets, galaxies, distant explosions, impossible distances. All of it had been executed after the reset, using the dome's membrane as a gigantic screen that shaped human perception from birth. The methods were precise: advanced holography, light manipulation, atmospheric projections, meteorological control, climate simulation, and the creation of phenomena reinforcing the lie. The Hess-Dahlen lights, ball lightning, strange auroras, the silent lightning of Catatumbo, the luminous pillars in Siberia, the sky's black dot anomaly of 1977, all were flickers, errors, glitches, recalibrations of the system. While he processed all this, 2L spoke of something even deeper, the hum, that constant low-frequency vibration some people hear without knowing why. A bass frequency, imperceptible to most, designed to crush inner silence. The silence where humanity could remember who it is. There he understood the true war. It was not a war over land. It was not a war over territory. It was a war over human consciousness. His learning reached its end when 2L brought him to the edge of the dome, not physically, but through ancestral records where scientists from these lands had studied the membrane from the outside. And the images were devastating. Star projections generated by machines, secret energy routes, ancient labs trying to open fissures, nuclear explosions used to attempt to pierce it. Operation Dominic had not been a military test. It had been a desperate attempt to break the illusion. There he understood that modern humanity was not living only a historical lie, but a perceptual lie. It wasn't that they didn't know where they came from. It was that they didn't know where they were. And when he closed his eyes before the final record, an animation of the dome seen across multiple dimensional layers, he felt something he had never felt in the known lands. A moment of perfect silence. That moment, Tuel told him, was the proof that human essence could never be fully dominated. Silence was resistance. Silence was memory. Silence was the path back home.